Are you totally different when it comes to sex and copulation? Have you judged yourself out of receiving pleasure? Have you judged yourself into receiving pleasure in certain ways and excluded other ways? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here's the host of The Pleasure Zone, pleasure diva and body whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight I have a very, very yummy topic for you, sexual magnetism. And actually, every time I go to tell somebody the title of this out loud, I am about to say animal magnetism. And I wonder, is there even much difference between animal magnetism and sexual magnetism? It's pretty fun, though. This show was actually a request by one of my avid listeners in Reno. So shout out to Mike from Reno. So thank you for requesting this topic. And I think it's a great time of year, actually, to be talking about sexual magnetism. We've got Valentine's Day coming up. And, you know, there's a lot of times so I live in Canada, and a lot of times during the colder seasons, the colder weather, a lot of times people will start to say stuff like their sexual energy is down or dropping, or they're not feeling as alive vitally, sexually. So I think the whole idea of sexual magnetism is a really fun topic for this evening. So before I jump right in and just go on about that, I would like to let you guys know about a few of the things that I am currently creating on this planet. One of them is I just love this creation. It's continually being added to and evolving and creating itself, really. It's got a life of its own, and it's workshops on hedonism. So I've got classes for individuals coming up and classes for couples. And I am so excited about them. Actually, today I had, in the last week, I put out an offer on social media inviting people to have taster sessions with me. And I've had about 200 people over 200 people say yes, and I've had about 70 people so far book for those. How does it get any better than that? And in those sessions in today's set of sessions, I've had a lot of requests for classes for me to facilitate people in different uses of using sexual energy, tapping into their sexualness, using their sexual energy to create their life, their business, their money inflows. So I am responding with a resounding yes. I will create that, and I would love to invite all of you into those creations as well. And so if you haven't friended me on social media, please do so. Send me a note to say, hey, I'm interested in your classes. I will be sure to get you the information and the links. Keep in mind, I'm giving you the energy of that right now because it was only created in the last few hours. I haven't actually implemented anything yet in terms of date, but I do have the awareness it will be within the next few weeks that those creation calls, those sexual creation magic calls will be showing up. It really is for me utilizing sex although it is magic, and I do know that sex is magic. So incorporating different awarenesses I have with sex magic in order to create your life in a far more fun, expansive, easy way. I am aware that maybe that's something that I do that's unusual, as most of the people I spoke with today were actually drawn to the sessions with me. Probably 90% of the people who were drawn to me in today's sessions were specifically about sexual energy and being more of their sexual energy. And so, yes, I would love to invite you to that as well. And I am aware that the creations, there's so many yelling at me. I'm like, okay, I'll do that creation. I'm going to have a lot of things going out. So you'll have lots of options. Anything you can choose, anything that's from like a $25 something to like a $700 or $800 something. There will be a very wide range, so that everybody who would like to have something from this will be able to choose it. Super easy to choose. There's going to be lots of options available. So I'm excited to invite. So yeah, I love having a range of prices. I love having many multiple choices so that people, guess what? You can choose whatever works for you and your time availability and your financial availability. And how fun would it be to also have it be something that could increase your money inflows, so you can choose some of the bigger maybe classes that your body might be like, yes, I would love that $800 in-person class with Milica, because that sounds crazy and weird and awesome. And yes, I'd like to go to a hedonist workshop. Yeah, I would. How do I choose that? And if you're making money the excuse, guess what? I will have some classes for sex and money too, girlfriends and boyfriends, because I happen to have a capacity with that I just didn't even really have a lot of aware. I just kind of took it for granted. Let's face it. How many of us do that? We just do. So I'm just excited to let you guys know about that. And that is actually a lot of the energy of sexual magnetism, right? So, magnetism in itself is quite a cool energy. When you think of the word magnetism, what comes up for you? So, for a lot of people, when you think of the word magnetism, I bet you get the image of magnets in your mind. Most people do. And you get the idea that something is drawn to something else, right? You get the idea that somewhere maybe bodies, like a magnetism, something's drawn to you, to it, and a sexual magnetism would be maybe something that is drawn sexually, right? So from etymology itself, magnetism actually has nothing to do with magnet at all. So even though the word magnet is in it, you would think that it's like a draw together, it is from the modern Latin magnetismus. Let me say that again. Magnetismus. I'm usually really good with those words. And it actually just means personal charm. So although we do know that in science that it would have a reference to the magnets in science, but it does refer to personal charm, magnetism. So what is sexual magnetism then? If personal charm is magnetism, what is sexual magnetism, right? So would that be you're using your body, your sexual energy as a way to charm people? Now, if you can charm people, what else can you charm? Can you charm business? Can you charm money into your life? Well, I'm pretty darn sure you can. So sexual magnetism in itself is just using the word sexual and magnetism together, which is, basically sometimes can relate to copulation as well. And it can actually relate to you being male or female and using your genitalia, for example, like men using their manly man penises to then pull people into your life in a charming way. So if people ever refer to you as charming or whatever, guess what? Yeah, that manly man's penis, because those women penises are so awkward, right? I have to say manly man penis because, man, I watched, sidetrack. This is an awesome sidetrack, and you're going to like it. I was actually discussing this last week before the show, I had just watched a Netflix documentary about it's called Rocco. I think it's called Rocco. Anyway, it is about a guy who was a porn star, and he was just getting out of porn, and his name is Rocco Siffredi. And man, if you have not seen that sidetrack was a worthwhile sidetrack for you guys to know about, because the first 5 minutes of that Netflix is ultra freaking scrumptious. It had to be the most enticing invitation to watch a movie I've ever seen. And all I have to say is it involves nudity and a shower, and hot damn, what a show. That's all I needed to watch. And I know my lover husband was like, "So what are you watching?" I'm like, "I'm watching a documentary because it's really educational about, porn." He's like, "Oh, cool. You learning anything?" Well, what I learned is that some men have 14-inch penises. Just saying. That's what I learned. So it was just like a beautiful art statue to me. But also it was just beautiful. But it didn't look 14 inches in the beginning of the movie. He was just having a shower. It was just beautiful. It's just a beautiful scene. That's all I have to say. That's my sidetrack. That to me was sexual magnetism. It's just beautiful. But probably I could have seen any penis, any size on the screen, and it was the filming of it too. It's like black and white, and there was like water coming down, and it was just like very visually appealing because of the way they filmed it. So I think you'd probably really, yeah, don't watch it. You might get turned on. So if you don't want to be turned on, don't watch it. If you don't want to actually get kind of what an energy of sexual magnetism might be, don't watch it. But if you're enticed by the idea of what is sexual magnetism, there are people in porn films that have no sexual energy whatsoever, and they have no enticing kind of energy. And then there are some that do. And I honestly have probably watched 3 porns in my entire life because I don't find the energy that appealing. But this documentary was pulled me in. So there's something about that charm, the charm of the character, that was a draw for me. So and he's a little bit nuts. I personally wouldn't choose him as a lover just because I'm not attracted to his style of sex. But hey, whatever charms you, right? So what is charm? And because it is personal charm, sexual magnetism is it's such a far-reaching scale. So in terms of trying to define it, you can't say that one thing is sexually magnetic and one thing is not, because it's such a personal thing. It involves personal charm, and for some people, they might find some characteristics or personality traits very charming, and for others, they might find it downright disgusting. I personally find my husband's sense of humor quite charming, but his ex-girlfriend found it quite revolting. So it just depends on what turns you on. And if you are willing to be around the people who actually do find you charming, you will allow your energy and your body to start to be at ease, to be vulnerable, and all of that allows your sexual energy to show up, and shows up because I don't know how to translate my words anymore or conjugate them. So the energy will show up more. And the more your energy does show up, guess what? The more you show up, the more that sexual energy shows up. You start to be it all the time. So I highly encourage you to kind of scan your friends energetically, like scan all the people you know and see who is it that you find charming, who is it that you find is an invitation, who is it you find that when you're around them, your barriers are down. You don't even need barriers. You don't require them. You show up more. You become this invitation. Your body gets turned on. Their body gets turned on. Like I was telling some of the ladies today, just because you can make a penis hard doesn't mean you have to jump it. So sexual magnetism can also be where you are willing to turn things on with your charm, where you're willing to use your sexual energy, use your body, use the genitals that you chose in this embodiment to actually bring out and bring in more of your charm and to show that, to actually walk that and be that. So if you feel like if you feel, oh, this is great. So my producer actually likes to write quotes. So if you join us in the chat room, you'll see quotes of hers that she's written that I say during the show. And then sometimes she'll go and she'll make she'll make pictures for social media about them. And the one that she just made, and I bet this is going to be up on Facebook, but this will be so funny. Just because you make a penis heart doesn't mean you have to jump it. So I just want to know what kind of photo she's going to use when she creates that quote pic. That'll be awesome. I definitely would like to have hashtag my name on that for sure. It'll be inspirational. I have some pictures I can send you, Christine, that are actually penis fountains. I think we can get away with that and not get in trouble. So, and those would be really hard penis fountains. So I'd like you to we're going to head to break, and when we do, I'd just like you to consider who around you consider sexually magnetic and who you feel has sexual magnetism. And when you actually get the energy of them, then you'll start to be able to see what it is about them that you find sexually magnetic. So let's explore that as we head to break, and when we come back, we'll just kind of unravel that a little more.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and today we are talking about sexual magnetism. What a fabulous topic right before the big V-Day, that V-Day. And I think it's hilarious that we call it V-Day, considering we also use the word V-Day for war. Like, it's so funny, but that's just my point of view. So let's look at what is it that actually you find like sexually magnetic in somebody, that you find is charming, that pulls you in, that person has a sexual personal charm about, that you're like, you look at them and you're like, yeah, that's yummy, I'll have that. And you might not even know them, you might not have ever even talked to them, but from far away you go, oh yeah, there's something there. Now that is some sexual magnetism. That when somebody can pull you from across the room, literally like a magnet, and invites your body to receive pleasure without even talking, to me, that is some sexual magnetism. For me, it's like a person who knows that they have secret skills. They have like these secret talents, whether it's like sexual talents or whether they're like the secret woodcarver, whatever it is, they tend to have this like side of them that they keep like as a private secret, and they only let certain people in. To me, it's a kind of person who has something that they have so personal that they like share with, maybe a few people. I don't know what that is for me. It's like when I get invited into that, I feel like I'm like special or something. So for me, that's what is sexually magnetic, is even if maybe they've showed it to a million people, that I got invited into something special that I thought was special, that's like sexually magnetic. It could even just be like testing wine or, being invited in to see an art piece that somebody's like made and they're just not showing the world, but it's just like private. That for me is such a beautiful invitation and such a lovely invitation. And to me, that's sexually magnetic. That's to me charming. But I'm an odd case in the woods. So I did ask my friend who is producing me tonight what she found, what she finds to be sexually magnetic, and her response was a man with a sexy and smirky smile with a little devil in his eyes. And I like that response because, that is kind of like the little devil in the eyes is that little something you're hiding to me too. And there is something so charming about that. Now, have you ever come across somebody, so maybe you identify yourself as heterosexual. Say you're a heterosexual male and you've happened to come across in your lifetime other male bodies that you can acknowledge and recognize as sexually magnetic. Now, or that you have this awkward, why am I turned on by that? Like maybe you start judging yourself for feeling turned on and you don't know why, because you would never think that you'd be turned on by another man. So I'm just curious, what are the qualities that you would say are in the people of the same sex if you identify yourself as heterosexual? And I wonder about that because what I'm aware of is the chances are you are that. And also and the reverse is true too, if you're finding somebody has sexual magnetism and they are the opposite sex and you're heterosexual, the chances are you have those qualities too. So yeah, I'm sure that I too have those qualities of that I have like some kind of secret something that I hide somewhere, which maybe makes me interesting. I don't know. Maybe it makes me charming. Maybe my fact that I really don't hide a lot of anything, maybe that's charming too. It's hard to say. Maybe it's not charming at all. Maybe in fact it's a giant turnoff, and that's okay too. And I found it was actually quite cool that I was asked to do this topic because I, in my lifetime, would never say that I was a sexually magnetic person. I would not qualify myself that way. I can recognize that I have skills. Yeah, I know that's funny, right? So now my producer and friend is laughing at me, but yeah, no, I actually don't consider myself that way. I guess I don't see myself. True story, but no, I don't see myself that way. I do get that I have certain talents and capacities that utilize sexual energy, but I don't see myself as sexually magnetic. So I thought that was kind of fascinating that I was asked that, because I'm like, what do I even know about this topic? All right, I will talk about it, because this is like a challenge to me in that this is not something that, it's not a quality I see in myself. So, and then I started to wonder, what if we all have sexual magnetism? What is it actually? And where have we made it something completely different than what we thought it was? So for me, before actually putting this show up, I would have told you that sexual magnetism only belonged to the women who had, the perfect size D tits that had like a size, whatever. They would be called sexually magnetic because all the men are drawn to them. Now, I would say that is what would be sexually magnetic. I wouldn't say that my oddball personality, my my bum that seems to just keep growing and growing. I don't know. It has this life of its own these days, and just like I don't have the face that goes in magazines. So I know that, and I'm not trying to like beat myself up about it. I'm just saying, like, I'm just stating facts. That it's funny that my point of view of what sexually magnetic is that you would have to be constantly looking like you walked out of a magazine. That would be sexually magnetic. And this show, actually, this title of this show has invited me into looking at what truly is sexually magnetic, what truly draws people to you as a sexual being. And all this gifting that I've been doing to people all day today who have been asking me to invite them into more of their sexual energy kind of blew me away. That I worked with like, I don't know, 15 women today or something. And a huge percentage of them were willing to receive sexual energy from me and to receive it and to be it and to be present with it and to be orgasmic with it, and to allow me to witness it and to allow me to contribute to their lives with it. And so I didn't really have, and it was funny because I would say, wow, look at that. You're choosing blah, blah, blah with me. And they're like, of course I would choose to do this sexual healing with you. And I'm like, of course? What? So, honest to God, guys, I am sometimes so freaking daft. It's cute. I truly give myself like an F in recognizing some of my talents and skills. I get an F in that, but I get an A in being willing to acknowledge when other people say, hey, you do know, and I'm like, hey, really? I'm willing to acknowledge that I'm willing to question it and possibly choose it. It's freaking adorable. So, yes, it probably is time for me to actually start seeing more of who I am. And I like really have to laugh at myself because it's so bizarre to me that right now in my life, I do have people who acknowledge that I have capacities for that, and I have people who are acknowledging that they can choose to be around me and something will change for them in that way or in that area of their life. And I had a few of them were just like so excited to write testimonials. Like there's like people chatting on social media about their sessions with me, which is so freaking awesome. I was just like, I was gifting because my body really required to gift to a lot of people. I felt like I was in super, super slut mode, and I just like needed to like gift pleasure like a crazy lady. So I put it out there to just gift like a crazy lady, and that's what I chose. And it was it's really cool to watch some of the comments that people are saying. Like one of the women said, "You can't help but just change." I just loved it. I was just like, is she talking about me for real? Like, that was just so cool. I'll see if I can find it when we go to break, but it was such a cool testimonial. She was saying that something to the effect of, you just can't help but, have ease in your body being around me. I was like, really? That's just so cool. So I just loved all the feedback. It was such an inspirational day as well, with all the things that people were requesting that I would offer, with the classes, with all the different ways that I could facilitate with bodies and energy and sex. And it's just so cool because I had so many judgments my whole life about it that I would never consider myself sexually magnetic, really until the last few days when I put up this topic. So thank you, Mike from Reno, for seeing something in me that I didn't see. You're funny and I adore you. some of you might have heard Mike from Reno. Sometimes he will randomly call in, which is cool. And so that is really cool. Maybe I don't know if he's listening live tonight or not, because maybe he's not. but if you are, that's awesome, and you're such a contribution. So if you guys like to hear a topic too, remember you can write to me anywhere from the station to my website to you can find me and write to me and request different topics. So we're going to head to break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about sexual magnetism after this break.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dane here, and I would like to invite you to an adventure in being. I've just written and finished a new book known as Being You, Changing the World. Are you one of those dreamers? One of those people who's always known that other possibilities should be available but haven't yet been able to see them be created? Well, I wrote this book for you. In it, you'll find tools, processes, and unique perspectives to change the things you've always wanted to change but didn't know how. In it, you'll find an invitation to a different possibility for a way that we can be in this world that changes not only our lives, but by being us, allows us to contribute to changing everything planet-wide that doesn't work. Are you aware that truly great people, truly being them, is the only thing that has ever created a great change on this planet? Are you willing to step up? Are you willing to be one? Check out a copy of my new book, Being You, Changing the World. I invite you to go to beingyoubook.com for a free gift.
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and some of the things that I did get to read, I just wanted to let you know the topic is sexual magnetism tonight. And the first little bit, I was talking a lot about my own experiences with sexual magnetism, and I did choose to kind of do some research on what other people think of sexual magnetism as well. And one of the articles I came across talks about sexual magnetism, like what it really is to them is, and this has to do with, they call it subliminal magic. It has to do with people who are willing to tap into that dark energy inside of themselves, the energy that contains a power that literally hypnotizes people all around you. And it's funny because I was actually accused of that many years ago. I was accused of, I was working in a holistic metaphysical bookstore in Toronto, Ontario at the time, and there was a person who came in and he accused me that I was raping him energetically. He actually wrote a 10-page report on how I raped him with my eyes and how I pulled that off. And he explained my skills to my bosses, who then asked if I would do that to them. So I thought that was very funny. And it was really hilarious in that I had no idea I had that capacity. And I made myself really, really wrong for being able to be hypnotic with people. So what if part of that sexual magnetism is that willingness to lure people in to pull people in and to tap into that little darker hypnotic side of you. What if it's not dark at all? It's just like people call it dark. It's a capacity to have people choose greater. You can, hypnotize people into the greatness of them. Absolutely. It's a few actually articles referred to the whole mesmerizing effect of sexual magnetism, is that as if you don't feel you have control, you just feel compelled towards people. So here's some questions to ask when and if you do feel sort of sexually magnetized towards people, and you feel maybe you don't have any choice in it. You're just like, I'm drawn to them and I don't know why. I'm just so turned on by them and I don't know why. I can't help myself. And I do hear people say that sort of thing a lot. It's like, I just can't help myself. So what if the people that you're being pulled in by are sexually magnetic, maybe do have hypnotic capacities, and they might not even be aware of it. They might be completely oblivious to it. So would you be willing to ask a question like, am I being hypnotized here? Am I in a trance? Am I awake? Am I alert? Even just starting to ask the questions would indicate that you are alert, that you're willing to ask the question can change the energy so that you can choose them from a place of choosing rather than from a place of feeling hypnotized. Because how many times are we actually being hypnotized into choosing different things? You're like, oh, yeah, I really want to do that thing, or I want to take that thing, or I want to buy that thing, or ads on TV are built around hypnotizing us into choosing things. So they're not necessarily sexually magnetic, although there's a lot of sexual undertones to a lot of advertising and marketing. That's the brilliance of it, that when you can put that charm and that sexual energy into something, you can charm anybody. And a charm is like a spell. It's like hypnotic spell, right? That can lure anybody in. So what if you don't make yourself wrong also for hypnotizing people into choosing you? And I bet there's a lot of you out there who would like to know how to actually have that, how to be more of that. And do we all have it? Well, my point of view is we all have it. Because if I thought I didn't have it, and then I'm starting to acknowledge I do have it, then what if we all have it? Now, it's a matter of how potent we are with it or how much we're choosing it. And I'm actually going to play with that a bit in the next few weeks and see what I can offer you guys in terms of some tips and tools as maybe a sideline experience for like a class, to see if that's something that would be fun to explore your sexual magnetism and have it increase. So it doesn't matter what you look like. It really doesn't. A lot of people do think it's about physical attributes, like I did, or they think it's about a social status or how much money you have, or fitting in with people or whatever. But it really doesn't have that at all. So, if you are with somebody who has zero expectations, how fun is that actually? So if you have also, there are people who've programmed their minds so much with that all they want is sex. They've built up a constant magnetic field of the attraction to sex, and that's what they will pull in. Like whatever you put your energy on, you will make it grow, right? And if you put your energy on a penis, it usually grows too. That's just an FYI. So if you actually do know that you are creating that you're building that energy, that you're creating more of that so-called magnetic field, it becomes the energy of who you are, which is energy has a magnetic pull to it naturally. And the way that energy works, it will, you'll have positive and negative electrons, and they will pull other electrons towards them. So they're constantly pulling energy in. So if you are willing to just be all the energies that will pull the partners, the love, and to increase your sexual magnetism that can pull anything in. If your sexual magnetism can pull in lovers, it can also pull in money. It can also pull in different creation possibilities. What is it you're looking for that you would like to utilize your sexual magnetism with? And where have you not invited it in? Like I, ignored the fact that mine might exist. So now I'm like, hey, cool. If I have sexual magnetism, where can I include it? Where can I utilize it? What can I be with it? And would I be willing to hypnotize anybody into choosing greater through that energy? And I'm aware that I'm willing to hypnotize every last one of you if it's going to have you choose to create greater in your life. It's a little BDSM through hypnotic trances, through sexual magnetism to choose greater. That's what I'm offering you right now. So yeah, you guys, you just you're probably gonna be strapped up against a wall for this, just so you know. And there's probably going to be all kinds of fun involved, because that's where I'm coming from with this. And it's just allowing yourself to surrender to receive something greater. So if you're being pulled in by sexual magnetism, you've actually allowed yourself to be hypnotized. You've allowed yourself to be pulled in by that trance. And why would you choose that? Well, we choose that because somewhere in our beings and bodies, we get that it will create something for us. It'll create a change. It'll create something different that maybe we're looking for, that we've been asking for that change, and that lure or that allure that person has will be what maybe invites you to that. So I'm willing to hypnotize every single one of you. Maybe I'll create a little something around that too. Who knows? I don't know. I'm in such creation mode that it's freaking crazy, actually. It's freaking crazy. And now what I require is some, like we talked about with Gaia Morissette a couple of weeks ago, I just require adding a little sperm energy there, a little manly man energy to actually have these babies' births. So my husband will be busy, just saying. For anybody who wants to talk to my husband for the next 48 hours, he's going to be busy assisting me in creating, because I'm going to require his body to do a lot of magic. That's what I'm saying. So, well, that was interesting. My daughter was trying to get my attention, and that just had her walk away real fast, I tell you. She did not want to hear that her parents are going to be getting it on. So we have, and actually in Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas talks about sexualness, which is the sexual energy, which to me is a lot of what the whole, the whole thing that we're talking about, sexual magnetism, is a lot like our sexual charm, our sexualness, our sexual energy. A lot of it, in a lot of ways, I get, are quite similar in that you can utilize your sexualness, your sexual energy, to pull and attract things into your life. So what if they are actually very similar, and what if they both have a sort of hypnotic capacity to create and facilitate change? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Just a little exploration in my own mind on that right now. So it's I'm reading a comment in the chat, and I'm not sure what that means, so I will ask about that after. So maybe it's a hypnotic trance code. It could be that too. So I'm really curious. People, you watch in movies too, like certain movies with these darker energies. There's been a whole run on people watching vampire flicks, and I was watching Twilight again recently with my daughter for like the 8th time or something. And there's something so enticing about that whole vampire energy, is there not? I don't know. There's something so enticing about Twilight, and there's no mistake that it was so popular, and that there's this, the way that the vampire is so sexually magnetic and hypnotic. So are you willing to be, doesn't mean you have to suck people's energy, but are you willing to pull energy magnetically like all those vampires do in all those Twilight flicks, and be that kind of like yummy scrumptious that hardly anybody can resist? Are you willing to be irresistible is really what, to me, what we're talking about is, are you willing to be irresistible to people? where they just can't help but choose you. Yeah, doesn't that sound awesome? What if you were like that item on the menu that is, it might be the hidden menu item that everybody goes to that place because they're really ordering the hidden menu item, even though they could see all the other items, but they're like, I'll have that hidden menu item. Oh yeah. And if you're waiting to be irresistible, it's not going to happen, darlings. You got to choose to be irresistible. And what if you can't even resist your own self? What if you're at that place where you're so irresistible that even you indulge in all of your own body's requirements and desires? What if it's not about control at all? What if it's about being totally out of control, totally out of the sense of order, totally into the chaos of creation, and being willing to be so irresistible that nobody can resist you and nobody can resist everything that you're creating? Resistible is where, people are willing to push you away. Irresistible is where people are not willing to push you away. In fact, they feel so drawn that they don't even know what to do with themselves. I'm willing to have all of you confused as crap so that you will be irresistibly choosing more of you. So if you are, and I say I'm willing to have you guys be that because I'm willing to be that energy right now in this 10 seconds. I'm willing to be so irresistible that you would choose to actually be more of you by just listening to this show, or by choosing to hang out and take some classes with me or have some facilitation with me. If you're willing to just be so irresistible, and the invitation, which is a softer word to irresistible, but I'm like really digging being irresistible right now, right in these 10 seconds. So I'm going to go enjoy my irresistible self for the next 2 minutes at least while we head to break. And when we come back, we'll see where the rest of this conversation goes. Go be irresistible.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution, taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation by tuning in to the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. You'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world, and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer, it's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255. That's TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email at milicajelenic.com. Now back to the program.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight we're talking about sexual magnetism. And before break, I mentioned a few things about vampires and such, and I was talking about being irresistible. And one of the things I was kind of thinking about on break too are who are all the other people that I see as like irresistible. I thought famous people, for example, that I could use as examples. And as a teenager, I had this like total heart on for Jim Morrison. Even though he was dead, I think I was like in love with his beingness. And characters like that who definitely had a darker energy. And it's not about being the bad boy, right? I was wondering, like, it's not because he was a bad boy figure, but no, it was that he had this energy that was kind of a similar energy that we talk about, like that vampire energy, that is willing to pull you into their universe. And I am so willing to pull you into my universe, to invite you into my universe. So if you would like to have a totally different reality, I'm willing to pull you into my universe so you can see a different possibility so that you can create your own universe. And I'm willing to invite you into your own universe without pulling you into mine, but inviting you into that as well. So, wow, it's just such a fun thing. And how many people would go to like shows like the Jim Morrison shows and they would say they were totally mesmerized by his antics and his intensity of life and being. And I just like literally just using it as an example. And I think there was something about me as a teenager that I found that I so desired to have that be present in my life, that I would be that kind of person who would just say anything and be so outrageously me anytime, and to also have the capacity to pull people in. And I didn't have words for it at the time. I just thought, wow, he's hot, and he's dead, but he's hot. And all the other characters in movies, shows, or whatever that you find like lure you in and pull you in, there are qualities in them that you have, and there are qualities that when you're willing to be all of it, when you're willing to be all of you, including the darkness and the lightness and the depth and the shallowness, like all of it, if you're willing to incorporate all of it, you can actually pull all of those energies, and that is like your magnetism becomes super enhanced. You become this like superconductor, super magnetic puller when you are willing to be all of it, because you're not just trying to like pull one energy or the other, but you're willing to step into some of those darker places in you. Just like the 50 Shades of Grey book, how many millions of women went crazy over the character Grey because he had a little dark side about him. I didn't read the books. My mom informed me because she loved them. But how many of those women are just drawn to that deeper, darker side, and men too, that a lot of us hide. And for me, that's when I was talking about that side that sometimes people hide that I find so alluring. It's that shadowy, darker side of ourselves. I find it so inviting, and so I'm willing to be more of that. I'm willing to be, and I'm just like really excited to play with some ideas. I'm going to ask the universe for some questions as well. So what energy, space, and consciousness can me and my body be to be the sexual magnetism I truly be, to be the irresistible, fierce force of beingness I truly be, and everything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, goodbye, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. If you don't know what that little saying is, a little talking to the subconscious, a little hypnotism there for you, not really, inviting you into more of you. Check it out at theclearingstatement.com. Thank you for being on the show with me today. I'm so grateful for all of you listeners, for all your ideas that you send me to have shows with. Really like to invite you into my creation. So please find my website, www.milicajelenic.com, and join my mailing list so that you can get information about all my future creations. Thanks till next week. See you then.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.